I just wanted to open up the conversation about how women are seen, valued, and made to feel in pop culture and within different professional industries.
Shout out to the women of the world, bounce your necks.
As a man, have you ever experienced gender discrimination within your professional industry?
I know it sounds horrible, but 100%. And I don't know, I've seen it a lot. I mean, it's kind of different for men when you grow up, and especially where you're from. I grew up in Slovakia, and it's kind of normalized for you, like, oh, young boys should have like this kind of, it's basically objectification, and we glorify that because like it shows that they're healthy, and by healthy they mean that they're straight. You know what I mean? It's just like a whole screw fucked up thing. Can I swear?
Yeah, of
So,
course.
but yeah, and it was just like, so you kind of don't realize that until you get out, and when you grow up, and you're like, that's really not okay, is it? You know what I mean? And then it's still like public doesn't really know that much about it, but in a medical environment, it's still when they do surveys, they see how patients automatically see women as the nurses and males as doctors, which is and I have this friend, she's in Slovakia, and she was doing an interview for some kind of newspaper, and yeah, she said that she cannot even count how many times patients refer to her as a nurse because she's young, pretty, and she's now, I'm actually a specialized doctor here, and I'm I'm taking care of you, and it's really screwed up. And you saw it also during school. I cannot even count how many times especially older men and professors were like, like women are supposed to have kids and not be doctors and stuff like that, which is crazy when 70% of those students and doctors are female. So it's just, I don't know. And it was the same, like, especially it's surgical fields, they prefer males. You have these stereotypical fields in medicine that they're very sexist. So it's orthopedics, orthopedic surgery, and surgery in general. And we would have these rotations when you go to oh my god, to the operating theater. And so like at the end of the lecture, the lecturer was like, okay, all right, boys, which one of you wants to go to operating theaters? And like guys were like, nobody. Well, really, none of the boys want to do surgery? Is there anybody? And there was like one girl, but they would prefer to have a guy to be come with them to the operating theater, even if they're not interested. But there's like this female that is like, she wants to do that in the future as her career, but they still would prefer guys.
I don't see how gender has any impact on how well a person can do their job.
And I see, like, especially when you work at pediatrics and something like that, females usually have more patience with kids and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So a lot of times they're much better doctors and especially by the numbers, it's more female doctors than male doctors. So I don't understand what the whole point of that is, but I don't know. It's just, I think it's going to take like at least a couple of generations for this to change.
Anyone ever speak up? When this kind of behavior is going on, does anyone kind of say, hang on a second, we've got some like great female staff here?
Yeah. Like I was born in 1995. And I feel like in our sixth or fifth, like that's our final years, people started to speak up, and even like the girls started to speak up for themselves when they felt confident. Like, let's say we were at gyno and they would not let this girl, like she was my classmate in the same like study group, and like they would not let her go in. She would be like, well, I'm going to be working with you in 2 months, so I want to get the experience. So you're going to be my colleague. So I want to go there. And like, you're not going to just dismiss me. Like, what the hell,
Yeah.
So it's good. I feel like it's better. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. I had this conversation also with my mom because we had these like student societies that started to, talk about this issue and stuff like that. And we had this professor of neurosurgery, and she's like an actual professor in Czech Republic. You have to get like like something appointed by oh my god, by the president. So it's a huge deal. So she's an actual professor in neurosurgery, which is like, first of all, super fucking hard. And and she's like 40 something, and she raised 3 kids, you know what I mean? So it's like very respectable, like how she managed. And I talked to my mom, like I was like, look, it's really nice. And then her response was like, okay, but how much time did she spend with her children? You know what I mean? So it's even like females put down female. I don't know. It's very frustrating.
I just think we're just really conditioned, aren't we? We're really conditioned in this idea of certain genders manage certain roles.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, it's just mental that we're kind of like still carrying on these old narratives, even though actually we're behaving in a very different way now in 2022.
People always try to find something faulty with things. I don't know, but I just found like, yeah, it's absolutely admirable, and just show, like young students that they also can one day be working, in this field and be respected and actually be professors and still have family and all of that. You know what I mean? So I think it sends out like very nice message.
Yeah, and also who's to say that the other partner to the professional working woman
Absolutely.
isn't like the stay-at-home parent?
Yeah.
Who's to say, why is it always got to fall to
Yeah.
the woman? There's some fantastic dads out there who are like the
Yeah.
stay-at-home parent and the woman is the one going out working. So it's mental that we kind of like conditioned to think, oh no, but the mum's not home. It's like, yeah, they've got a dad, or they've got a
It's
mum.
nowadays is like common practice in Sweden and somewhere up north, like where exactly parents split up the maternity or like paternity leave. Exactly. If you want to have a bond with your kid as well, when you're like create that bond, I would also like, for example, here you have maternity leave for 3 years. So I would definitely be just like, okay, I'm just gonna be with a kid for like a year and a half. I'm sorry, but I also want to be with that kid, and you know what I mean? So it just,
Yeah.
it's kind of changing, but it takes time. I don't know, like if it's the way people are brought up, or like maybe I don't really know. It's like it also changes like the whole view depending where you are. If you're in the US, if you're, in England, if you're like in Europe or like in Asia, like different cultures. And unless you really get out, you cannot really get a different perspective. You know what I mean? So if you've been told your whole life exactly that, she's a woman, she should, have kids and be, in the kitchen and all of that shit. Come on, like, and it's like, how do you explain a color to a blind person? It's like kind of they can conceptualize it but never really get it. So if you're in this environment your whole life, you think this is normal, this is how it's supposed to be, but it's not. And this is actually I wanted to bring this one up. This is like really fucked up, because like when we go for job interviews and you want to go to work at a hospital, I know that some interviewers, like the doctors that interview you, has asked, and this is coming from my friend, they told me that they asked them if she was planning on having kids and going on maternity leave. And first of all, they never asked that to guys, and I would go for a paternity leave for some time, and it's still like really fucked up because it's invasion of your privacy as well. Like you have no absolutely right to ask me if I'm planning on having kids. Like it's none of your fucking business.
It's interesting you bring that up because obviously, as you know, I work in the music industry and I'm now 41. I chose not to have children because it's just not something I personally wanted to do. But the amount of times I'd have like men in meetings say to me, are you going to have children? Because that's going to impact our potential of investing in you, because that's that makes you a high risk business investment. You're like, have you got fucking kids? And they'd all be like, yeah. And I'm like, so how are you any less or more of a risk to this business? It's just so fucked up.
It's very hypocritical, or I don't even know how to label this or this whole thing. I don't know, but it's like, yeah, it's nonsensical and it really fucked up.
Absolutely. I was going to say to you as well, Dani, this is a good one to ask you because you're the first man that I've been chatting to on this subject. As a man, is there anything that you haven't done or don't do because you are a man?
That's a good question. I don't really know, like stereotypical, and I'm telling you, like most of my friends are like young millennials and Gen Z, so it like the whole dynamic switches. And even like when I do gigs, I paint my nails and stuff like that, so I no longer see it as something, like that would be maybe like if you would ask me like 7 years ago, I would be like, somewhere in the back of my mind, it would be like, yeah, but guys don't do that. But I'm like, well, guys don't do that. I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want to do. I mean, it's my life. So at this point, I don't know. I feel like even if I want to wear a skirt, I'm gonna do it. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? I literally don't give a fuck. So it's kind of, and yeah, that goes also like with confidence and social status. Like when you grow up and you have nothing, basically, like how people, and it happens to all, like either whatever gender you identify as, it, people question if you have like question your like intelligence and whatever, whatnot. But at this point, I just feel, well, I don't have to prove you that I'm smart. I'm like, well, I have a medical degree and it's fine for me. I don't have to prove anything. It's the same. It gives me that kind of credit. Or like, oh, can you really sing? I'm like, I don't really have to prove yourself. You know what I mean? I don't give a shit what you think. So if I want to do it, I don't give a shit. I feel comfortable enough to be like, okay.
I love that. So basically, you're like really empowered by all the different parts of yourself,
Yeah.
and you don't create any self-limitation. And I think that's wonderful. It's like I've actually asked this question to other people, and you get a range of answers. Like I've had women say to me, I won't walk home alone at night. I've had one woman say to me that she's really into gaming and she won't go into certain forums because she'll be verbally abused by men in certain forums. So to have you say, no, actually, if there's something that I want to do or there's a way I want to behave, then I'm just going to do that. And we need to bottle a bit of honey and like share it out, because that's such a wonderful energy.
But I do realize, like, I'm fucking privileged. I'm a fucking privileged white fuck. I do realize my privilege, but whenever I have, and I say it all the time, like, I'm very self-aware of this. I don't have to feel like not safe going, like, walking home. I listen to music at 1 a.m. like in a dangerous neighborhood. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? Because I'm 6'4" and I'm like almost 100 kilo. You know what I mean? So it's a privilege, and I understand that. So exactly, I usually, even if I'm like running low on money, I still feel like, I don't know, I'm skilled and I have a good knowledge enough to like, so I don't feel insecure anymore. So yeah, but I understand that completely. And there's actually, I don't know if have you ever seen BoJack Horseman?
No.
It's a great show. Like, if especially I recommend it to even my patients if I know they have anxiety or depression, because they're gonna definitely love it, and they always do. So there was this one episode and it talks about these issues, but since it's a cartoon, they sell that topic so intelligently that, our minds, for example, if you've seen 13 Reasons Why, if when you see an actual person getting raped, your mind conceptualize it like you feel really bad deep inside. But when you see that thing, the same thing being done to a unreal character, you still don't look away, because in your mind you feel like, yeah, but that's not real. You know what I mean?
Of
There was
course.
this one episode where women start to carry guns in the US because so they can feel safe. And
Yeah.
all of a sudden, Congress voted on banning all guns. And at the end of the episode, the Diane says, like, I cannot believe this country hates women more than it loves guns. And, Princess Caroline, the other one, was just like, really? Really, Diane?
It is so mental to think that we're in 2022 and that we're still having these kind of conversations, because this attitude, it's still in existence, it's still thriving, and it's like you said, in different parts of the world it's got even more weight. So yeah, it is, it just blows my mind, babe, blows my mind.
Don't understand how in this age we still have to discuss, the pro-choice movement, like actually have to, argue for pro-choice. It's
Yeah.
just, it's mental to me. And especially in school, we've seen all these cases, like of botched, abortions. And when you actually ban abortions, the studies show that women will still get abortion, but they will get them in an unsafe environment, get sepsis and die. So you know what I mean? That's all it creates. It doesn't like, you know what I mean? It's not going to take away your choice. It's just going to legalize it for you, and you might actually hurt yourself. That's all it's going to do. So it's like fucked up. It's all about control, and I don't know, it's, yeah, people in control want to stay in control, and for whatever fucking reason people still want to exercise their control over women and people.
It does feel like a strong form of social order, and it's like, when you talk about subjects like abortion and pro-choice, no situation is black and white. And I think we're all free to make the choice for ourselves that we morally feel we can live with. But I think it's wrong for us to dictate that to someone else, because there's so many situations where women get pregnant and then, they either don't want to have a baby, or, they're not in a situation to, or we've got those extreme situations where, women are raped, and now in America, they're being forced to then have their rapist child. And you think, what is that doing to that mum, and what is that potentially doing to that child? Because how does that woman then discuss that as that child grows up? Where's dad? Oh, well,
Absolutely.
actually
Yeah,
it's dark matter.
It's horrific, and yeah, and I always feel like the most uneducated people on that specific matter are the ones who are always the loudest, which is blows my mind yet again. Like how they say, "Well, it's a living baby." Well, no, that's why we have a consensus. I think like it's 12 or 16 weeks. I should know this, but I don't remember this. But there's a, we have a limit for legal abortion, and then you can get abortion up until 24th week of pregnancy, but that has to be due to like some kind of birth defect, because like that child will die anyway and might endanger the mother. But I'm telling you, it's like these people who have absolutely no idea about biology,
Mm.
human anatomy, like anything, make these statements, and I'm just always, I don't know. I try to stay out of it because it makes me very frustrated. I'm like, you have absolutely no ground to talk about this. You know what I mean?
Honestly, I think it's frustrating you and like 90% of the world.
Yeah,
Because it's just, yeah, it's a mad dictatorship on that particular subject.
yeah,
It's crazy. Moving away from that super weighty subject,
yeah,
because that is a chewy one we could talk on for a long time.
yeah, yeah.
Um, what is one thing that you feel that we could do to help change the narrative around gender disparity?
Nobody really cares about feminism when women talk about it, but when all of a sudden men start to talk about it, like, oh wow, he's so progressive. I'm like, yay, feminism. I'm like, it's so fucked up. But people are, yeah, people are dumb most of the time. Let's say like this, and very easily influenced and controlled. So unless you literally just spoon fed them like what you wanted, but like in a manner that's for them appropriate. When man tells them that, like they're not gonna listen. They're gonna. I think you posted this on Instagram how Taylor Swift was talking about. Yeah, when a woman has a plan, she schemes and she said this word exactly. But when Kanye does it, oh, he's very strategic. What the fuck? No, it's the same bullshit. Come on, you cannot just but just because she does it, like, yeah, she's just trying to make a scheme and all of that. Come on. So I don't know, but it would just would I think would start to actually might help when people, because also the men that you see talking about this, they just use it to advance them politically and to get them into power. They don't even mostly believe in what they say. They just want to get the voters and stuff like that. So like all of a sudden, yeah, feminism. But when you listen to them, they have super misogynistic quotes and all of that Andrew Tate bullshit. So it's like it's gonna take a long time to change this and for people to actually start saying what they think. And I had this conversation like about 2 weeks with one of my best friends because we found out that he was talking like some really misogynistic bullshit, and I confronted him. It was me and my best friend. So she's a girl, I'm a guy, and he's a guy, and he has like this other friend group with his guy friends. And I found out what they were saying there, and it was just like super disgusting. Like these fucking, it was like some kind of incel bullshit. So I confronted him like, no, I want you to like really stand your ground. So if you don't say anything means that you subconsciously agree with that. You just don't want to say it to us. And that's not okay. Like I'm telling you, pick your fucking side.
Kind of feel by what you're saying that actually, by rather than sort of having like a thing to say that we could do, you're actually taking action,
Yeah.
because when you're personally overhearing anything that is like slanderous to to the female gender, you're actually stepping in and saying, look, bro, that's not an okay way to speak to her.
Everybody should. And exactly, they think like in these bro scenarios that is okay, nobody's gonna find out. But exactly, that
Yeah.
shows that you don't say it, but deep down you agree with all that bullshit. You just know that if you said it in front of us, we would like say something, and that's not okay. You know what I mean?
It feels like it gets packaged up as banter. Like we as women are meant to be like, oh, they're just messing around. It's just banter. But I
Yeah,
would never go into a room and like speak to, males in that way.
yeah,
Um, because they wouldn't be impressed.
yeah.
And I just wouldn't want to present myself in that manner. So why
Absolutely,
is we as women got to be subjected to, nasty fucking talk? So,
absolutely, absolutely.
I really do applaud that actually, you stand up and you make a point and you take action. So, you're not just giving me something where you're saying, oh, we could do this to help change the
Yeah.
narrative. So I massively applaud you, Dani.
I always try to tell them, like, exactly, you love your sister, and imagine that somebody, a random dude, would be saying this about your sister. You would get mad. So what the fuck is, what the fuck is
Yeah.
wrong with you? It's like, it's not okay. It's like, I don't know. I don't know if you've seen that video from Madrid of those guys chanting on those girls on the street on
Oh,
the
yeah, I've
campus. Have you
seen
seen
that.
it?
I've seen that.
That's what the fuck.
Yeah.
I- uh,
It's like a
the,
sporting event. It's so
yeah.
weird.
That looked like an episode from Black Mirror. Like who the fuck does that in real life?
You just kind of feel like turning around to these people and going like, has this ever actually fucking worked for you?
Yeah.
Have you actually ever got laid out of this situation? Behaving
Exactly.
like a total twat bag.
It's coming from that mentality. Exactly. When a woman doesn't want to sleep with me, oh, it's not a fault. It's not my fault. It's her fucking fault.
Oh, of course, we're lesbian, or we're stressed out. Yeah, or we're frigid, or
yeah. I don't even. I don't know. It's sad, scary, and comical at the same time. Like, what the fuck? No, it's because you're a massive douchebag, and like I wouldn't even touch you. You know what I mean? Like, so why would anybody? Come on.
I kind of want to say to these guys, like, maybe if you just started with hello rather than, oh, right, nice tits.
What the fuck? And you can absolutely say compliments in different way. And I do it all the time, and it kind of works. I'm not even kidding. This was, I think it was in London. I was like on a street, and there was like just like a girl, and we're just like, I was listening to music, and she smiled, I smiled, and I said like, I just wanted to tell you that you look really lovely today and have a great day. It's just like, and that's it. I'm not gonna be like, yo, and like I've heard these videos like, oh, you tight. What the fuck? Shut the fuck up. It's a stranger. How dare you say something like that to a stranger? Would you like somebody?
Nice. That's so nice, because that girl probably went home just feeling like lovely, that like she'd been seen, and you're a lovely looking lad, and you're giving her this lovely compliment.
Everybody likes nice, innocent compliment. You know what I mean? It's like I like when somebody compliments me in a nice way, not like, yo, you packing. I'm like, what the fuck? Shut the fuck up.
Hey, massive cock.
It's like, I'm like, shut the fuck up. This is inappropriate. It's different when somebody tells like, no, you have like a nice smile. And I'm like, thank you. You know what I mean?
In terms of like going back to, what's that one thing you feel we can do? I think you're kind of saying, speak out, take action when you're overhearing like this derogatory narrative, from men to women, or vice versa even, women need to be listened to and not disregarded. We shouldn't wait for the male opinion. And you're actually the second person to make that commentary to me on this subject. So I think there's more of us kind of getting on this same page of thinking. But just to end this session, for anyone who is listening to our chat today, have you got a positive message for them?
Try not to be a dick. Like, and even if that means that you have to turn off the news and stay in your own positive bubble and be positive with the people you have around you, try to, you only have one life, so enjoy it, have fun along the way, and don't be a dick. You don't like being disrespected, don't disrespect anybody else.